As your closest partner in trade, it seems only fitting that I offer you your first dance as queen. Jump.
Oh. Thank you. Only I don't dance.
Dance? Just dance. Why isn't she dancing? Do you think she knows how to dance? Hi Internet, I'm Rachel. I'm 5 months post-grad, and I watch a near constant cycle of Disney animated films to escape from the escalating wars of having to pay my bills. Perhaps you can relate. On my most recent viewing of Frozen, I was perturbed by this moment.
Oh. Thank you. Only I don't dance.
Elsa, you haven't even been queen for a full day and you're already snubbing your nation's biggest trading partner. What are the repercussions for this? For those of you who somehow missed the Frozen boat, the massively popular film concerns a newly anointed queen whose ice magic plunges her kingdom into an eternal winter. The winter is brought to an end by the love shared between the queen and her sister, and this B-plot villain doesn't really figure into the main conflict. Make no mistake, the Duke of Weselton is a baddie, but here's why that moment bothered me. When Elsa and the Duke are first introduced, she has no idea that he has nefarious motives. All that she knows is that Weselton is Arendelle's primary trading partner, and she still rebuffs him in favor of passing him off to her sister Anna. The dance is played for laughs, but it's stuck in my craw. Wouldn't it be considered bad etiquette to refuse a dance with a foreign noble? Let's say the Duke wasn't a villain at all, but just a really awkward old guy upon whom a lot of Arendelle's commerce depended. Would he take her refusal as a slight upon his honor and hold up trade negotiations? Could Elsa have made that big a misstep in her first hours as queen? Later, she does end all trade with Weselton, which might be for the best considering that their duke is pretty seedy. But what impact will that have on Arendelle? Does she have a plan to replace the imports from Weselton or export to another nation to make up for the money she'll now be losing? Do these questions even matter? I argue that they do. So, this video is the introduction to a series of video essays that I call Rate My Princess. So, what is it I'm about to do? Step 1. Determine the approximate time period and location of each Disney princess's kingdom. Step 2. Research the history of the area in that time period. Step 3. Analyzing the princess's actions in her films and sequels to determine what kind of ruler she would be during that time and place. How will I analyze the princesses? I'm glad you asked. I have invented the completely silly and arbitrary Rachel rating scale. The princess can get a certain percentage of points depending on how well she can answer the following questions. Diplomacy figures for 20%. Does the princess present the necessary skills to negotiate well with potential allies and enemies? Optics is 10%. Does the princess have the potential to cultivate a good public opinion from her subjects? Economics comes in at 20%. Does the princess offer either wealth or some economic understanding that could bring her kingdom to prosperity? Influence, 10%. Does the princess's temperament or societal expectation prevent her from influencing her nation's politics? Conflict management is the big whopper at 40%. Is there a conflict in her kingdom that she alone has the solution for? Based on how these princesses do in all the categories, we'll come up with a score for how effective a leader they are. Or could have been, considering this is all fictional. Questions! You might have questions, and I might have answers. Let's see if I can address some before you even ask them. Number 1, what's the point of all this? Well, you could argue that there are 2 points. The first point being, I like Disney princesses and I like talking about them. But if you want to dig deep, why not? Let's dig deep. Let's go there. Disney princesses, as of this year, will have been around for 80 years. For almost a century now, they've managed to stay relevant by changing the princess formula to fit the idea of womanhood for each generation. So it's this incredible cycle of society creating a princess who creates an idea of womanhood that children are going to grow up and then come up with an idea of womanhood that they're going to put back into the princess, and then it's just going to keep going in a circle. Something that has so firm a pedestal in the cultural zeitgeist and has such an ability to influence the idea of American womanhood deserves to be thought about critically, and it deserves a bunch of scholarly discourse. So let's just give it a bunch of scholarly discourse, and that's where I'm getting started. Are you at all qualified to conjecture about this? Literally not at all. I am not the owner of the Disney princesses, and I am not an expert historian. I'm just a fan who would like to see more analysis of the intersection of those things. Are you gonna do this princess? What about this princess? Are you gonna do that princess over there? And in your next video, what princesses are you planning on doing exactly? I don't know. I had a list, but it might change. What if I think you're totally wrong? I want you to tell me, actually. I think that would be kind of wonderful. Because if you think I'm wrong, then you might be inspired to comment on the video or create your own response video, and we can keep the scholarly discourse about princesses going, and I don't see how that could be a bad thing. I hate you and everything you stand for. That's not a question. You can turn off the video. I won't ever know. So without further ado, let's get started on rating some princesses.